Good evening, Achala.
Good evening.
Great to have you here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Just to give you some background about the crowd we're having today, mainly these are third year undergraduates doing computer engineering, as well as a second group of third years. So based on, due to the situation going on currently, we have two batches in the third year at the moment. So in their third year, they are following a project, coursework project. We call it the third year project, where they build full-scale systems, including hardware and software, both deployed on cloud servers and so on. So in that project, we start them off with planning, designing and planning their project ideas as products and develop them as products. So we drive them towards a position where they might be able to take the next step towards actually potentially commercializing their ideas. So so that is the model we have in our third year. So it's mainly the students who have just finished their third year project and the students who are just about to start their third year project that we have here today. But other than that, there are some other students in the junior and senior batches as well, who are keen on getting some information about how to make their ideas a reality. So that is just a quick background about the crowd we have today.
Yeah, so I think that's the most ideal crowd to have, I think, given the topic that we're discussing. So hopefully when they complete their third year project and, some people might be, go on and commercialize this. So hopefully at least one or two projects will go to the commercial level, and hopefully they'll succeed.
Yes, that is the expectation. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to pick up some good stuff from your talk today. So we have about 72 participants. Without taking a lot more time, let's get started. I'm recording the meeting, so in case the others are not here, they will be able to catch up on it later on. So to introduce our guest speaker today, we have Achala Weerasooriya on our invitation, delivering a talk on opportunities that are the opportunities and trends that are there in the tech startup ecosystem. Achala is the Chief Operations Officer of LiveRoom. Some of you, if our senior students are here, you might be familiar with him if you were involved in any LiveRoom, say industrial training activities, I think. Otherwise, you'll get to know him today. So without taking too much time, I'll let Achala take over.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So can you allow me to share my screen?
Sure, you should be able to share if I'm correct. Yeah, you should be able to share.
Jessica. All right. Nice. So I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes.
Right. So good evening, everyone. And my name is Achala Weerasooriya. I'm the Chief Operations Officer of LiveRoom Private Limited. So today I will be talking about the opportunities and trends in the tech startup ecosystem and how you can find support to reach your goal in building up your own company and serving the public. So during this little talk, I will have a few slides where I will try to explain to you what is actually a tech startup. So how to get into this industry, and what are the opportunities or what are the support that you can get to this industry, and what are the places that you can showcase your products, and what kind of other information that you will need to know when you get into the startup industry. So to get an approach to the discussion, so as you know, there are, graduates are actually adding up to the number of graduates that are in the country every year. So every year there'll be government universities, there'll be private universities, institutions, so on and so forth. They'll be releasing huge number of graduates to the field. So specifically when it comes to computer engineering or IT, software engineering, computer science, those areas, there's a huge number of graduates who will be coming out. So from these huge number of graduates that are coming out, there'll be a certain percentage of people who will be going for higher studies. That's a given. There'll be a huge percentage of people who will be going for higher studies, masters, PhDs, everything. Apart from that, a huge percentage of graduates who will be coming out will definitely go on to work in other companies. So what their goal is to go and work for a company, earn a living, and live a better life. So that's their goal. So they go ahead and go to work in another company. Apart from that, there'll be another set of people who will migrate either for higher studies or to do jobs or whatever it is. There's a set of people who will be migrating as well. So there'll be another certain group of people who will actually focus on doing their own thing. Even though it's actually a given fact that the people who are actually doing their own thing is a very lesser number of people compared to other areas who will be going for higher studies, employment at other companies, or migrate. But there'll be a certain set of people who will be able to take that risk, who are ready to take that risk and go ahead and do their own thing. So today, within these few slides that I have prepared, we will be focusing more on the people who are doing their own things and want to build up on top of that. But please keep in mind that this does not mean that you will have to forget higher studies, you will have to forget migrating, or you will have to forget doing a job and then solely focus on doing their own thing. But it does not mean that you will have to forget everything, but still you will have to, if you're doing your own thing, then you will have to have a huge focus on that and a huge dedication towards that as well. So we'll discuss them later, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how the structure is actually have prepared, or how the structure is actually have made up when graduates are coming out every year to the industry. So now that we got to know about the structure, how these people are coming out to the industry, and because we are talking about the tech startup ecosystem, I think I should introduce to you what a tech startup is actually all about. So tech startup, when it comes to tech startup, I think you have heard millions and billions of number of companies who are emerging as tech startup in Sri Lanka, as well as outside of Sri Lanka globally. So the thing is, like, the tech startup ecosystem in Sri Lanka is very much saturated, and it has a huge support from the government, non-governmental organizations, the other countries, so on and so forth. There's a huge support and huge ecosystem that has been developed. So because of that reason, there are millions and billions of companies who try to showcase themselves as tech startups and try to get the support and the exposure that is available there in the tech startup industry. But let me introduce to you what actually a tech startup is. So if you are building up a tech startup, it actually has to address a few things. So it should use technology. Obviously, it's a given. It should use technology. Then it should be a service or a product, or either service and product. And the special thing is it should be unique. So this tech startup, when you say tech startup, it should be unique. The most important thing is that it should be unique. So it should be unique in the sense, it does not mean that you will have to do a completely different thing that has been never done before, If you can do that, that's very good. But it does not mean that you will have to do something like that. For example, let me say, there's a company called Gener8 in UK. It's a startup company. What they do is they actually act as a middle person. So, when you go to these social media platforms and everything, those social media companies, Facebook, likewise companies, they actually depend on the data that they get from you. They track your user behavior, they track your likes and dislikes. So they sell these data to other companies, and that's how they are actually making money. So these Gener8 like companies, what they do is they actually act as a middle person where in between the user and that particular company, where you will need to give consent for that company to use your data. So it's like they are in the middle. They ask from you whether you are okay for them to share the data with these social media companies or whatever the platforms that you're dealing with. And then in return for that, they will give you a point. They will give you points. So it's a point system that they have. They will give you points, and at the end of the day, you can purchase different stuff, or you can turn that into cash. The number of points that you get. So that's the basic concept of Gener8. I took it as an example because I wanted to explain to you that how this uniqueness actually happens. So that is a tech startup. So what they do is they give you points, and the points you can convert them into cash, or you can convert them into purchasing items from the internet. So there's a similar company in US, this company Gener8 in UK, but there's a similar company in US that does the same thing, but their differentiation is that they don't give points. Instead, they pay using crypto. So that's the difference between this UK company and the US company. So both are tech startups, but they are different, but they are addressing the same market. So it does not mean that you will have to do a completely different thing, but something that differentiate your company, something that differentiate your solution out of the solutions or the companies or competitors that you have in the market. If you can do something like that, then that's the uniqueness of your company, and that will actually be a successful startup. So when you have when you utilize technology, you provide a service or develop a product and service, and it's unique. So when you address all these, you will develop a startup, you will build a startup, and you will become an entrepreneur. So please bear in mind, the term entrepreneur does not mean that you are a business person. It's completely different than being a business person. So entrepreneur is actually a person who actually does something different and does something new, and then go on to do make it a business and give jobs and likewise improve yourself. So I hope you understood how you can build a tech startup. Basically the points or the characteristics that you need to address or infuse into the company that you're building to make it a tech startup. So even though you have all these characteristics, even though you have all these features built up to build this particular tech startup, you will have to go through a huge set of work that you need to do to make this actually a working company as in an operating company, to make business and to get clients on board, to get money and to run the business. So the most important thing actually is the ideation phase. So I know for a fact that during your lifetime, you must have definitely come up with more than one idea that you thought was $1 million or $1 billion idea. So it's the same thing for the entire world. So everybody might have come across an idea that they have thought that it's $1 million or $1 billion idea. So how many of the people have actually gone ahead to try that idea? How many of people have actually gone ahead to try that idea and succeed? And how many have failed? And how many of the people have just got that idea and just let it out there, just let it go, basically. So ideation is actually very important, because when you get an idea, you need to make sure that this particular idea is going to solve a problem, not create problems, but to solve a particular problem that the market that a particular market or the community as a whole is actually facing. So that's ideation. So now you have an idea to build a company, build a tech startup. So when you have the idea, the next thing that you need to do is validation. Validating that idea is particularly important because you need to understand whether your idea is whether the outside people or the community or the target group that you're targeting as clients is actually uh, looking for something like this, is actually will get whether they'll get on board if they have something like this. So that's market research and validation. So doing that will actually make your idea strong, and doing that will definitely give you an idea and answers to all the questions that you will definitely have when the idea is there. Because when you do a market research, you will understand whether the market is ready for your product, or whether the technology is available for your product, um, whether you will be able to successfully get it out to the market at the right time, and your monetization work, how you are going to monetize it, and basically, for most importantly, the orientation of monetization. Like, say, for example, if you have a product, software product that you sell, uh, say that there are two groups of people, like retail shops and the end customers who actually purchase items from retail shops. So those two groups, if you are building a software product software product that addresses those two groups, you need to correctly identify where the monetization should orient. Meaning, whether you need to charge from the retail shop and let the end consumer use, or whether you need to charge from the end consumer and let the retail shop use. Likewise, you need to understand from whom you need to go, you're going to charge or monetize, and who will be utilizing this as the end customers, who will be gaining the benefit. Likewise, you will be getting a huge understanding about the idea that you have and the area that the idea is going to be applied to. So validation is also important. Now you have an idea and you have validated that idea, and now you have a strong and complete idea that you can go to the market with. So so the next point, finding, utilizing resources, that is also something very important. Why I say that? When you develop a company, it's not very likely that you will be able to do everything by yourself. For example, if you are a tech person, if you're a techie, you have a developing background, then you will be able to develop a product. But who is going to take it to the market? Who is going to approach the clients? Who is going to get the clients on board? Or who is going to do the operations part? Likewise, you will have enough and more problems that might not come into your expertise field. So in that sense, you will need to get some help from other people. So that's when the concept of co-founders are coming in, where a different group of people, say two people, three people, it can be more than three people, who will contribute towards building up this company and support towards building up this company and getting this product or service out to the market. So when you're selecting those particular people to be your co-founders or the core team of your tech company, you will definitely need to be smart. Why you need to be smart is because those people will act as the core of your business for years to come. So when those people act as the core of your business, then they will need to have the mindset, the same exact mindset that you have. Meaning, if you are going to be dedicated to this particular product or service and you are going to build this, then other people will have to have the same mindset, and they need to focus on it, and they need to put their best on it, and support you with the tasks that they have been assigned. So when selecting the co-founders, you definitely need to um, understand them in the sense is that they need to be on the same page as you, and you need to be able to see eye to eye with them, and ideas, how you think, concepts, everything should match with each other. It does not mean that like, we have seen scenarios where best friends are becoming co-founders and building up companies. That is good. But again, there are enough and more examples that I can give you where best friends got together and tried to build up a company, but it actually failed. It actually did not succeed. So likewise, you need to understand who you are going to be partnered with and who you are going to work, and the expertise of that person, what they can bring to the table and what you can bring to the table, and whether the combination of those things will actually be a good result at the end as a company. That is number 3. Then number 4, POC and MVP. One of the main things that I personally have seen in the this industry is that most of the people who are coming into the industry are trying to build the product one off. For example, they are trying to build the whole thing at once, including all the features, including all the look and feel improvements, everything. They're going to build up the software or the product as a whole, and then they're going to put it into market. So that's not going to be a good idea. Why? The time, you will definitely have to invest a huge time there. You will definitely have to invest a huge amount of money and your knowledge, and likewise you will need to invest a huge lot of things that to get that particular product or service to that level before going into the market. So what if you go into the market with a complete product like that and it fails? Then you will have to restart from the beginning. So that's when POC and MVP is coming into play. POC is proof of concept. So proof of concept is more or less similar to rapid prototyping, but I don't like to say that it's similar to rapid prototyping. Why? Rapid prototyping is basically where you actually develop a prototype in a quick time. So, for example, you will be asked to develop a HRIS system, and you need to have integrate RFID into that. So, in that sense, you can just develop a plugin or something, and then you can show it as proof of concept or a rapid prototype. So this rapid prototype is different from proof of concept. Why? Proof of concept is, as the name suggests, you need to prove a concept. So that unique idea that you have, the differentiation with your competitors should be showcased in this proof of concept. The proof of concept, when you're developing that, it does not necessarily have to be developed in the same technology stack that you're planning to develop your end product in, but just to showcase that this is possible, you need to develop a proof of concept. So the advantage of developing a proof of concept is that when you develop a proof of concept, you will understand that this can be done, and these are the steps that needs to be taken to achieve this. Apart from that, you can showcase the proof of concept, and if you're going for investment rounds, if you're trying to get some written consent from customers, then this proof of concept will play a major role there. So that is about proof of concept. So it's very smart. It's very ideal to do a proof of concept when you're going to build a tech product or software service. So then MVP. MVP is the minimum viable product. Minimum viable product in the sense is that the product that you develop, but it does not necessarily have to have all the fancy features that you want to add to it. So the basic core concept, the basic core business logic that you need to have in your end product needs to be developed using the technology stack that you are planning to develop, and the look and feel can be there. It does not have to be 100% completed, but still a simple look and feel where the customers can interact with it, use the product, and then so the basic concept of minimum viable product is to test the market. So you develop this product or service, software service, then you as a minimum viable product, and then you put it out to market to test it. So when you test it, you will see how the market acts, and what the market actually requires, and what changes should be done to your product. So likewise, you will get a huge set of knowledge by putting out a minimum viable product. So when you put a minimum viable product, it's very likely the first set of customers that you get will not like your product, or will have negative feedback about your product. Likewise, you will be getting a huge lot of negative feedbacks that you will need to improve, or that you will need to develop on top of that. Likewise, you will be getting that. But so it's very likely that you will lose that set of clients, the first set of clients that you will be letting your minimum viable product to test. So don't think about that. From my experience and from the stories that I have seen in the startup industry, what I would say is that first set of clients is it's actually there for you to test. So when you test with them, and when you build your product or improve your product based on the feedback and based on the market requirements, all the things, then at the end you will get a strong product that you will then can complete from the look and feel, all the fancy features added, everything, and then put it to the commercial market. So now that you have developed a POC and or MVP and got the market feedback for that, you can build on top of that and then go for commercializing. So that's the general path that most of the founding people of tech startups will be taking to get their company into the commercial level. So the thing is, all these steps, all these steps that you need to take requires money, time, and effort. So because of that, most of the people are hesitated to take that risk. So that's why most of the good ideas are not coming into the market. Most of the good ideas are just there, maybe as a POC or just a simple prototype or simple product. They will have that there, but they won't come into the market because the person who actually had the idea is not ready to invest the money, the time, and the effort that it requires to invest. So they are very scared to take that risk, and so they go ahead and just drop it out and go to work at some other company or do something else. So what I would suggest is take that risk, and if you are following these steps efficiently, and if you're following these steps very correctly in the correct manner, then definitely by the level of POC and MVP, you will understand whether this is going to work or not, and then you can go ahead and commercialize it. So that is about how the effort that you will have to put behind, growing this kind of a tech startup company. So everybody have heard about Elon Musk, right? So how did Elon Musk become he's actually one of the richest people in the world. So how did he become that person from the person that he was actually when he was a school kid? So Elon Musk, in the very first stage, he created a game called Blaster. He was actually 12 years old, and it's a mobile game. And he sold this to a magazine for $500, just $500. So then later he went on to borrow $28,000 from his father, and together with his brother, he started Zip2. So that is a web startup company. Then in 1999, they sold Zip2 for 307 million, and Musk's cut was 22 million of that. And he invested more than 11 million and co-found X.com. That's an online banking service. And later it merged with PayPal. It merged with one of its rivals and then rebranded as PayPal. And in 2002, eBay bought PayPal, and Musk got a cut of 180 million. And with 100 million US dollars, he found SpaceX, then Tesla. Likewise, there's like millions of companies that he's doing. So why I mentioned that story here is because it does being an entrepreneur, being a company, it does not mean that you will have to start that particular product and you will have to live with it for your entire life. If it is worth enough, then there'll be millions and billions of other people who will be ready to pay and buy it outright. So definitely there's this opportunity. The world has proven that there's the opportunity there for good ideas, for viable ideas, to get into the market and to actually succeed. So Elon Musk, if he like if he was there still with Zip2, then Elon Musk would have not been Elon Musk, the person that we know right now. So he will be a complete different person. But what he did was he did what he liked. He was interested in web startups. He did a web startup. Then he go ahead and try to do online banking. So he was enthusiastic about that. He did online banking and it was successful. So he sold it out. And then he wanted to develop electric vehicles, went ahead and started Tesla, founded Tesla. Then he wanted to go to Mars. So he is working with SpaceX now. Likewise, all the passions, all the enthusiastic fields that a particular person has, they can actually achieve it by correctly making the decisions and coming into the industries like this. So I just wanted to put it out there so that you will know that there's a huge opportunity there, that you will know that you will not be stuck with one thing for the rest of your life. So that from that, let's kind of go to the Sri Lankan context of the startup ecosystem. So Sri Lankan startup ecosystem is said to be quadrupled by its value since in the past 2 years. So it's like from 5.4 billion to right now it's around 21.8 billion in the past 2 years. So let's just go to this website. This is Startup Genome. In this website, you will see some of the statistics and points about the Sri Lankan startup ecosystem. So this island of ingenuity concept is done by the Export Development Board and the ICTA of Sri Lanka. It's Information Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka and the Export Development Board. So they together found this brand called Island of Ingenuity. This is for the IT export sector. So if you have a product or service that you can reach global, then under this Island of Ingenuity brand, you will be able to market it to the globe. So when you have a government-backed brand like this, you will definitely have liability. You will definitely have the trust from the global market. The global market will definitely trust you because you have a government backing. So that is one of the important things that has been done right now, and this has been very useful for companies in Sri Lanka. As a company who is coming from a startup, I know for a fact that this particular brand, Island of Ingenuity, has played a huge role to get some global clients on board. So having said that, let's go to see some of the statistics here. Total early stage fundings. So Sri Lankan companies averagely get around 50 million US dollars of total early stage funding. So the global average is around 431 million. And the ecosystem value, the value of the startup ecosystem in Sri Lanka is 117 million. So the global average is 10.5 billion. So the Sri Lankan value is 117 million. So I think you can understand that the Sri Lankan startup ecosystem do have a huge value. And these indexes actually shows the exit growth index. That is, if you are going to build up a startup and then sell it outright and then go ahead and start a new company like Elon Musk did, what I showed in the previous slide. So that index is around 5, that is around half. So investor activity index is around 5. So investors are actually actively investing. It can be local investors, it can be foreign investors. Anyway, they are investing. Funding growth index 9. So that also clearly depicts that the huge potential is there for the Sri Lankan startups to get funding. Apart from that, the government is actually mostly looking into startups in the e-commerce and fintech sector, but it does not mean that you will have to do a startup in related to e-commerce or fintech to get the support from the government and the Islands of Ingenuity brand. It does not mean that, but they are mostly into this e-commerce and fintech sectors. So reasons to move your startup to Sri Lanka, I'll just go through that stats as well for you to get an idea. So the median seed round is around 53,000 US dollars. The global average is 494,000. Median Series A round 0.94 million. Global average is around 2.7 million. And the talent acquisition in Sri Lanka is also talent acquisition in Sri Lanka is comparatively very low. So it's around 3,000 US dollars, and the global average is around 42.1 thousand US dollars. This is per year. So yeah, and apart from that, Sri Lankan government introduced 0% tax on IT companies. So that's a good thing that the tech startups will get. Spiralation is a government-run funding program. I will explain about Spiralation in a future slide. Apart from that, this one, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka announced 50 billion rupees refinancing facility for banks, enabling them to expand their lending capacity by 400 billion and providing working capital loans to businesses at a reduced rate of 4%. And I know for a fact that most of the IT companies or IT export companies in Sri Lanka have got the use of this, and they have been, it has been very beneficial for them. So those kinds of opportunities or those kinds of support will be available. And when you come into this industry, when you come into the tech startup industry, you will definitely get to enjoy these things as well. Having said that, yeah, so startup itself. So again, in Sri Lankan context, like if you can remember, previously I explained the brand Island of Ingenuity. It is a co-brand done by Export Development Board and the ICTA, Information Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka. So ICTA is very much, ICTA is more or less the head group where it drives this particular ecosystem, tech startup ecosystem in Sri Lanka. So they try to improve this day by day. They try to get support from other countries, the investors, companies, clients, everything they try to get here to Sri Lanka and to support the community here within the tech startup ecosystem. So for that, they have started this Startup SL platform, which is a platform where you can actually list your startup, and they themselves, the ICTA, will brand or basically market this platform within the global community. So if you go here, you will see there's a number of startups listed here, and they will actively promote this platform within the global community, and being listed here will definitely give you a higher advantage of getting clients on board or getting clients to your service or the product, because this is a government-backed platform again, and they say they will mention that this particular company is trustworthy. So because of that reason, you will definitely get a huge advantage there. So if you are building a startup, I advise you to list your startup here. To list your startup here, it does not necessarily have to be registered in the first place. You can list it, and you can go ahead with the company, and down the line you can go ahead and register your company. But to get involved, there are like programs like Spiralation, which I will explain to you in a little bit later slide. So if you are going to take part in programs like Spiralation, then you will definitely have to register your company because of some legal issues. But at this stage, to list your startup, you can at the stage of POC, when you are doing the market validation, you can actually list your startup here, and you can get a testing client set, or you can get to the commercialized level. So that is something good that you need to actually keep in mind. My advice is that you need to go ahead and list your company here, and then you will be able to get a good exposure. So yeah, about that, and some of the big names. So this particular photograph was actually taken back in 2017. This was back in 2017 when under the Spiralation flag, there were 10 companies who were taken to the Mobile World Congress. And for 4YFN, I think if you have a 4YFN, it's also a huge tech exhibition and a conference that is happening every year in Barcelona, Spain. So regularly for each and every year, there'll be a delegate of 10 companies who will be taken to that particular exhibition and conference through ICTA Spiralation program. So this is the group that went to that particular program back in 2017. And if you have heard about Ravihan's Betakepota, he was there. He was actually with one of his companies, Hypash. And right now he actually sold this company. And right now he is actually heading a venture capital firm. So, and again, Kanishka Veeramunda, he actually became the ICT Entrepreneur of the Year in 2018, as I can remember. And he actually heads a number of companies right now. So this was one of his very first companies, Pay Media, and he was there in this with us as well. Apart from that, this is the CEO of Effective Solutions and Gender Innovations, Kirti. So he was also there. So most of the big companies and the improved companies, the companies who have been stabilized in the industry, have started from that level. The tech companies have started from that level. Some of the huge names comes like Wow.lk, which is now being undertaken by Dialog, LiveRoom, which is the company that I'm with, PickMe, you would definitely have heard about PickMe, and PayHere. PayHere is one of the companies that works under Basha. Basha is the company that develops the Helakuru app that I think most of you are using. So that also has started from this level, where they got into the startup SL platform, they got into the spiralation program, they improved them, got the exposure from that. Likewise, not just spiralation, but to all the other platforms and all the other opportunities. They got the opportunities, they showcased their products and went ahead to build a huge company. Yeah, to give you another, just a brief on that. So these are some of the startups that started in Sri Lanka who have been succeeded at a huge level. So Ikman.lk, it's also a startup that started in Sri Lanka, but nowadays everybody knows Ikman.lk. If you go to sell something or if you go to buy something, you will definitely first go to Ikman.lk. That's a given. Likewise, they have built up that. Raw Media, PayHere, Idea Beam, again, one thing that you will definitely go to. Express Jobs, PickMe, Find My Fare. So those, everything, all those companies, there's a list of companies that is there. You can go to these links and see. So those companies were at one stage startups, tech startups in Sri Lanka, and they have improved themselves to become a huge brand. So that opportunity is there, that possibility is there. So that's what I wanted to show to you, that opportunity is there and the possibility is there. Moving on. So even though I showed you a set of local companies like Ikman.lk, likewise, it does not necessarily mean that your tech startup needs to be focused only to Sri Lanka. Don't ever think that. Whatever the company that you build, whatever the product or service that you build, try to serve the whole world, because it's not very hard to cater to Sri Lanka, and it's not very hard to expand yourself outside of Sri Lanka. Why I say that? Let's see this. So Zoom was just a communication platform a while ago. 2 or 3 years ago, it was just a communication platform, simple communication platform, which was very similar to Skype. But since the pandemic, 2020 revenue for the fiscal year 2021, 2.65 billion. That was up by 326%. So you never know when you will get the chance. In 2021 forecast, they will go around 3.76 to 3.78 billion. That will be 42% from this amount. So that's again definitely a huge growth. So stock price is up by 191%. So that is about Zoom. This is another company, DoorDash. this was recording a revenue of 2.89 billion. That was up by 226% in 2020. And again, they are forecasting around another 22 to 34% increase by this fiscal year. So again, stock price was improved by 45%. Likewise, there are there are a huge number of companies in the world actually where they got the chance to improve themselves. So whatever the company or whatever the platform or service that you are going to develop or put it out to the market, think globally. Definitely you have a chance. The opportunity is there because these companies were also at one stage like you. They were just ideas that they had. These companies might have been some again some projects that they did in their universities times, and they have worked on it, they have improved that, and they have identified the correct market, they came to the correct market, and they have been able to um, grow their business. So Square again, 9.5 billion, up by 101%. Likewise, if you visit these links, you will get a huge understanding about how this uh, system has worked and how this have improved the businesses that we never thought would have been huge businesses at one point. Okay, so everything comes down to money, right? So when you build a startup, then if you build a startup and if you go ahead and do a business, then you will expect to, at the end of the day, get something for you to make a living. So let's talk in money terms as well, because this will also, give a good understanding. So Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka expects $5 billion foreign revenue just from ITO. ITO is IT outsourcing sector in the coming year. So Sri Lanka, as you know, is one of the biggest destinations where IT services is provided for the globe. So in a global level, the Sri Lankan talent is hired because the Sri Lankan talent is very much for the IT sector. So Sri Lankan government actually has a plan to go up to $5 billion from foreign revenue using this IT and ITO sector. So this means that your companies, the service companies, the product companies will be able to, using the government opportunities, the backing that you will get, you will be able to reach the global market, get the foreign revenue into Sri Lanka. So that opportunity is there. Right now, we only earn around $2 billion. So 5 billion we still have. So around 3 we still have to improve. So that is there. That opportunity is there. Corporations are investing on startups than ever before because huge conglomerates and companies, they have seen the value of startups. They have seen that these startups, the new ideas that are coming from the people in the country, the graduates or undergraduates or whoever it is, are definitely worth giving a try. So they know that these ideas can be turned into huge companies, huge businesses in a few years. So what they have done is they have started to invest in these startups. So for that, they have these set of programs that they have developed. So one is some of the examples. I will say these are not the only examples. Some of the examples is John Keel's X. This is done by John Keel's Holdings. They are funding startups, and they are actually incubating startups in their companies, and they support them, they fund them. They of course will get a percentage of that, and they will help them grow, and at the end of the day they might even acquire the companies. Startup X Foundry is also something like that. Hema Slingshot, done by Hema. Again, they do have some certain criteria when they take startups into their incubator. So they do funding for that, and then sometimes they acquire the companies as well. So those kinds of opportunities are also there. And the most important thing is that huge companies like John Kills or Hemas are investing in startups. That means the tech startup is the correct way to go, or else these huge companies will not definitely start to invest in those. They don't have to invest in those unless those are going to be the next big thing. So that opportunity is there. That credibility is there that you can also build something that can actually go to these levels. Apart from that, many angel investment opportunities are also there, like Lanka Angel Network. Likewise, there are many angel networks that are in Sri Lanka and outside of Sri Lanka who wants to invest in companies, startup ideas like this. So definitely, those opportunities are also there. You can look for them. You can grab those opportunities as well. Apart from that, access to global events of funding such as Seed Stars. So Seed Stars is one of the competitions that happens all around the world, where they have like the country level competitions. From the country level competitions, you go to South Asia or Asia level, and then you go to the world level competitions. And then if you win it, then they will incubate you and get you funding, do everything like that. So it does not necessarily mean that when you participate in these type of competitions, it does not necessarily mean that you need to win. If you win, that's very good. But again, if you did not win, you will still get a huge exposure. You will still get a huge network of people that you have showed your product to, that you have inspired, and you will get a huge network of people that you will be able to convert them to potential clients in the future. So that opportunity is also there. So when you participate in these types of competitions or events, don't actually don't expect to be the winner and go there. If you can win, that's definitely good. That's definitely a huge advantage and huge upside for your company and for you as well. But if you did not win, you still got the exposure, you still have got something out of that. Yeah, so the last point is Sri Lanka is proven to be a great test bed for tech products and services before reaching the global market. So if you can remember in the previous slide, the third slide that I showed you, we talk about the MVPs and POCs. So when you say MVP, I explained that you can test your product using the MVP. So Sri Lanka is actually proven to be a very good test market for tech-based products. So you can test your product in Sri Lanka before you go to the global level. So when you test your product in Sri Lanka, you will get to know the problems that there is. Like, for example, if you are catering the e-commerce sector, and if you are a tech person founding a company, then you don't have that much of an idea on the sector of e-commerce, how the e-commerce sector works, how the marketing in that works, how product selling works, how the people's behavior works. So those things you will be able to understand when you put up MVP out there and test it out in the actual market, so that when you put your product out there, your potential clients or the testing clients will definitely give you feedback saying that this is not going to work because of this reason, because the people are behaving like this, people are requesting something like this. So likewise, you will definitely get some feedback from that, and you will be able to improve your product based on those as well. So because of that reason, Sri Lanka is actually proven to be a huge, a great test bed for the tech products. So from all the things that I explained earlier, I think you got an understanding that opportunity is very much available. The only thing that is required for you to do is grab the opportunity and run with it. So let's see where to get support. So now that you have built up a startup, you need to get support to get the startup to the market and the global level. I explained to you earlier that Sri Lankan government is actually looking to support this industry. So in the government sector, you have ICTA, which is the Information Communication Technology Agency, EDB, Export Development Board, FITIS. Likewise, you have a huge set of governmental bodies where you can get support. So these are the major ones, ICTA, EDB, and FITIS. Apart from that, there are small groups as well. But from these groups, ICTA, EDB, and FITIS, they will definitely give you a huge support when it comes to incorporating companies, when it comes to reaching the global market, when it comes to going for tech and other exhibitions, conferences, showcasing your products, getting into competitions like Seed Stars. Likewise, you will get a huge opportunity from them. Then private sector, like I explained earlier, Startup X Foundry, Hatch, they in the private sector, they also have like incubation facilities, co-working spaces, webinars that they organize, competitions that they organized, investor forums that they organize, so that you can go ahead and pitch your product, showcase your product, get some clients on board, get investors interested, or get investors in on board as well. So likewise, and make a huge network. So one thing that I wanted to highlight is that making connections with the people in the industry is very much important when it comes to tech startups, because you need support for your startup at most of the stages that you grow your startup in. Then you will definitely need to have connections. To make the connections, you need to get to know people. So to get to know people, you need to go to places like this, where that particular community is going to come. That particular community is going to definitely be at these places in ICT organized events, EDB organized events, the Hatch organized events. Likewise, they are going to be there. So they'll participate as investors, they'll participate as judges, they'll participate as just people who come to enjoy the place. Likewise, they'll be there. So you go there, you make connections with them, you network with them, and you show your product, because everybody who will be coming to that place have started from the very beginning. They will know what you are going through, and they will know the exact thing that you will need to do to get to the next step. So you definitely need to make friends with those people and get to know those people and get the use of those people, so that they will definitely help you out. They will never try to drag you down, because they also from their personal experiences know how hard it is to grow up. So they will definitely help you. So that is also there. Those people can be yours as mentors as well. So apart from that, in the universities, you have mentors. In other companies, you have mentors. In the industry, you have mentors. In the government sector, you have mentors. So likewise, you can easily go ahead and ask from people that you are doing something like this and you need support, this kind of support that is required. And if you want some advice from those people, you can definitely ask from them, and they will not hesitate to give you advice. Because again, the reason that I explained earlier, they also have started from this place, and they know how hard it is to get there. So they know how important it is to have connections and give the support. So they will definitely give you that support. So showcasing your product and service locally. So before you go into the global market, you need to showcase it locally and get some clients on board, get the market running. Likewise, you need to establish your product locally. So to do that, you have a number of opportunities like Disrupt Asia. Disrupt Asia is a conference, digital conference organized by ICTA, to which they actually invite investors and participants to join from abroad as well. So that's a global level market, but very much focused towards the local industry. Apart from that, Spiralation program is actually one of the cohort programs done by ICTA. They they do some kind of a funding. If you are selected and if you have been filtered, then you will get some kind of a funding without having to give up on your shares, and you will be able to reach the market from that. And under the Spiralation program, you will be able to participate in events like MWC, like I showed you earlier. And the important thing is that if you are selected, you will be funded up to a certain level, but you will definitely not have to give up any of the shares that you own. And NBQSA, I think you have heard about NBQSA. Definitely, the startups do participate in NBQSA, compete in NBQSA, because that recognition is also important when you go out and pitch your company to other people outside of Sri Lanka or inside of Sri Lanka, that your product has been already validated by registered bodies like this. So similar to NBQSC, you have ISWA Bimani, National ICT Awards. Likewise, you have enough and more competitions, enough and more opportunities there in the local market, local industry, where you can showcase your product, show your product, get some credibility, get some validity to your product, and then you can go to the global market. So when you go to the global market, similar to local market, you have enough and more opportunities. Japan IT Week, Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Spain, CBIT, that is a worldwide thing, 4YFN connected to Mobile World Congress actually, GITEX, this is in Dubai. Likewise, you have enough and more opportunities where you will be able to showcase your product. So to get into these ones, I advise you to be in touch with the programs like Spiralation, programs like the Disrupt Asia, with EDB, with ICTA, with SLASCOM, FITIS. Those bodies, be in touch with them, connect with them, and they will definitely give you the opportunity to go to these exhibitions, go to these conferences and showcase your product. Because if you get connected to those people, then they will guide you how to get prepared, how to create your product, how to develop it, how to showcase your product, how to create a pitch deck, how to invest in investor forums, how to invest for customers. Likewise, they will definitely give you all the guidance, all the information, all the knowledge that you require to go ahead and do this. Because, for example, if you are pitching to investor, the slide deck that you have, the pitch deck that you have will be definitely different from what you will have, what you need to have if you are going to pitch for a customer. Likewise, the differences in that, why you need to go with the MVP, what else would you require? Because some investors, at some investor forums, they will require letters from potential customers saying that they will get on board this product or service when this is completed. Likewise, there are some requirements there. So those ones, they will teach you, they will let you know what kind of information that you need to know, what kind of things that you need to gather, or how to be prepared to go ahead and participate in these events. So definitely, if you are building your startup, if you are going to put it out to the market, first thing, definitely get in touch with those governmental bodies. They will guide you from the very beginning. So intellectual property rights, this is also something important, because when you develop a unique product or service, then you need to secure your intellectual properties, right? So this National Intellectual Property Organization, sorry. So National Intellectual Property Office is actually the place in Sri Lanka where you can go to secure intellectual property. So they actually provide support in various things like patents, trademarks, industrial designs, copyrights, everything they will support. It will take a bit of a time for you to get the patents and stuff, given that it's you know how it works, but still this is the place that you need to go to and secure your copyrights, industrial designs, patents, trademarks. So definitely do that. If you have intellectual property, if you have something that you can be patented, then definitely do that, because it will be beneficial. Because if you go to investor forums also, they will definitely ask whether your product or service can, one of the very common questions that they ask is whether your product or service can be copied by someone else. So if you have protected it using a patent, then you can confidently say that no, nobody will do this, so that they can confidently invest in you. So that is also there. So that is also something that you need to keep in mind. So yeah, I think this is the most awaited topic that you wanted to know, I think. So I have included this slide, but I want to kind of burst your bubble here, because the trends, when you say trends, I don't really say that these are the only trends in Sri Lanka or the globe right now, because trends in the tech startup ecosystem can change by one night. So it's the market validation, it's the problem that you are solving, how efficiently you are solving the problem is what is actually going to make your product the next big thing. So, but I have the topics that I have included here. I don't necessarily say the trends, but these are the topics that have been discussed very much in the industry nowadays. But by tomorrow morning, this can change. Keeping that in mind, these days most of the trending topics are in agri-tech. Agri-tech means agriculture related, food tech, product visualizations, because this pandemic is hitting and people can't go out to shop, people can't go out and purchase products, do whatever they like. You have product visualizations growing up, immersive technologies, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality likewise. And I think this also you have heard very recently, it it actually improved non-fungible tokens, NFT market. And yeah, so those are the topics that are mostly being discussed right now, but I don't necessarily say these are the trends, because trends in the tech startup ecosystem can definitely change in one day. But if you have a product in whatever the industry, it can be AI, it can be agri-tech, it can be food tech, it can be something completely different to whatever mentioned here. But if it's solving a actual problem that the market has, and the community or the target market is actually going to embrace that product, if you are right, if you are coming to the market at the right time, then definitely you can build a huge product. So the topics will not be limited to these. Having said that, now is the right time to start. So now that you have an understanding, now you know the tech side of it, now you have ideas, now you are starting to build, develop projects and products. So you can now start your product, and you can go ahead, go ahead through the explain steps, and you can go ahead and commercialize your product. So one thing is that there is no shortage of remarkable ideas. What is missing is the will to execute them. Keeping that in mind, so I hope that you got an understanding of what the opportunities, the trends, and the how to actually build a startup in this in Sri Lanka, in this ecosystem. So I think so I think you got a good understanding. And if you have any questions, I'm open for to answer those questions as well. So, and also I hope to see actually some of the projects that you do in the future as commercialized products in this industry. And I wish you all the very best for that as well. So yeah, that concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm open to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Achala. So guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask from Achala, this is the time. While we wait for the students to ask their questions, I'll also ask one on their behalf, actually. So I'm pretty sure one of the things that will be in their mind, thinking about getting into a startup is, when is the right time to make that leap of faith while I'm a student, as soon as I graduate, or after a few years of working in another company in the industry. So I'm sure such questions will be in their minds. But can you comment on that, Achala?
Yes, definitely. So the thing is like it can work differently for different people, right? So there are companies in Sri Lanka where the founders have been working in different other companies in the industry for a huge number of years, and then left that, and then started their own company. So, and there are people who have started their company from the university days. For example, I personally know a few companies that have been founded in the second year of their university years, and they have been able to grow their company through the university years, and now have evolved to be some established companies. Again, there are people who actually are leaving the university and then starting their own companies and then being successful. So it's all about the right time to market of your particular idea. So when you get your idea, you do the validation, and then you will understand whether it is the right time to come to the market. Then having that idea, I think that's when you need to come to the market. it does not necessarily have to be when you are in the university or when you just passed out from the university. It's the right time to market for your particular idea. So as long as you do a good validation, market validation, and you identify your idea as the right time to market for that particular idea, then definitely you can go on with it.
Thank you, Achala. Are there many other questions, guys? Madhushan, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, sir. Am I audible to you, Mr. Achala?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you for the session, Achala. By the way, the question is like, what's your point on building a startup which is dependent on some other product that is existing already in the market?
It's okay, but then again, you need to understand that you are completely depending on something else. So what if something happens to that particular product that you're depending on, then what is your go-to strategy? Then would you go to square one and start from square one, or would you have some other plans where you can actually lean into, and then start from that point onwards? So I personally recommend for you to it's okay. For example, like there are, for example, if you go to these particular products that we do in our own company, it's an augmented reality and 3D product visualization platform. So that actually depends on the AR kit, AR co, and other things that are being developed by Google and Apple. So if that changes, then the complete scope will change. But then we do have our own plans how to adjust to that. So as long as what you are depending is not going to take you back to square one, if that collapses, then you are fine with going ahead with that. But my personal recommendation is that as much as possible, try to survive on your own. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Achala.
Are there any other questions?
Isuru, I also wanted to ask a question. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, actually, so you mentioned about POC and MVPs. Now, suppose at some point you have minimum viable product. So minimum viable product is essentially a prototype of your idea, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, how do you actually make sure that that MVP is going to be feasible in the actual market? Like what are
Yeah, so
some ways you suggest to do that sort of test?
Yes, so it's like this. So in the minimum viable product, the main idea is to go for the testing market. That's why I explained, when you go to the test market there, you might lose a number of customers that you will be getting on board in the first time. So they will not get on board in the long run when you release the commercialized product as well. But what you can understand from that is you can get an insight of how the actual customer base is behaving. So if you are catering to, like I explained earlier, to the e-commerce market, then when you provide it as maybe in a subscription model or maybe free of charge, whatever the monetization that you agree with whoever the customers that you're getting on board in the first place, you can let them try it out. You can let them give you feedback, and you can let them try this thing for several months, years, likewise. And then you can get an understanding what features that you will actually require your final product to have, what features that is not going to work, or what features that you have needs to be improved, what is whether the approach needs to be different, monetization approach needs to be different, or the prices are very high, or the product cost is very high. Likewise, you will get better understanding on the market. using the MVP. That's the basic idea on that. And based on that, you can improve your product.
Okay, understood. So you're basically actually working with your initial customer base itself, right? With the MVP, and then you get the feedback from them, and then you improve on it to get to a more refined product in the future. Yeah,
exactly. Yes. So then it's very likely to kind of lose the set of customers that you have there, because your product is not completed, and they will see your product as, not going to improve likewise, but they will give you the necessary feedback. So don't mind about losing that set of customers, because there'll be a million other customers who will get on board when your product is finalized.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Achala, I have one more question. You have told about these getting the team members, like co-founders, with a mindset of similar to us, the dedication all similar to us. So do you mean like finding some people who has similar thoughts and kind of thing, or are we going to like cultivate that mind within them, like our mindset within them? What's your point there?
Yeah, so my point basically is, when you say you need to see eye to eye with your co-founders, what I meant was, if they are expecting to get 300,000 salary from the first day, it's not going to work. If they are expecting to make this product live within 1 week, it's not going to work. So if they are having some unrealistic thoughts about this product, or if they are having some other unnecessary advantages that they take out from these products, then that is not going to work. The dedication that you put towards this, the focus that you put towards this to make this particular product a success, they need to have the same dedication, same focus, and same mindset to get this product out and make it a success. After making it a success, then we can give them the shares or whatever it is. But until at that point, they need to believe in this product as much as you do. They need to believe in the idea as much as you do. They need to have the confidence to speak up, and they need to have the confidence to bring into the table their expertise and support your product, rather than just being there as a co-founder and just giving you some support through words. It's not going to work, but they need to contribute towards this. So if you can find someone who you think you can get some contribution to, then you will definitely succeed. But then again, when you're looking for co-founders, the most important thing is that if you, at the very point that you understood they are not going to be suitable for this, you need to let them go. You need to plan and you need to act accordingly, so that you don't have any problems down the line when they go out of track, that you can send them out. So if you have that plan, if you have that structure with them, the understanding with them, then you will be safe. So when you are looking for co-founders, also try to look for people who are enthusiastic as much as you, and believes in the product as much as you do, and see a future with the product or the service that you're going to offer.
Thank you, Mr. Achala, for this valuable knowledge share.
Any other questions? Okay, looks like there are no further questions. So let me thank Achala for accepting our invitation today and coming and delivering a very informative and a wonderful talk on the tech startup industry, the ecosystem in Sri Lanka, as well as the opportunities outside Sri Lanka as well. So thank you very much, Achala.
Thank you very much for having me, and I hope everyone got a good understanding of this. So in case you have any problems or questions, then please feel free to send me an email or get connected with me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to help you.
Thanks again, Achala. Thank you everyone for attending. Have a good night.
Thank you.